Hey there, creepy peeps. My name is Nightmare Maven. I love talking about horror movies, and it's my birthday today. If you're watching this on Wednesday when I posted. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. So happy you found my channel. If you like what you see, stick around for a while. For a day, I don't know, however long. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. So happy to see you here again. So as I said, if you are watching this on Wednesday, June 23rd, when I post it, it is my birthday. I am turning 29 today. Last year, my 20s. Yay! Since it is my birthday or some form of anniversary, that's usually when I do a Q&A. It's always either for my birthday or for my channel anniversary. So I gave you guys a Google form link to write your anonymous questions in. I wrote Ask Me Anything. There's a good variety of questions in here. Some horror related, some not. So I'm gonna answer all of them. First question is, what are some of your favorite horror channels on YouTube? And if you want to spill the tea, channels you won't work with. Some of my favorite channels on YouTube, horror channels, I should say. Obviously, the people you probably see me on the most. So like Spooky Astronauts, Girly Gore, Carnage Candy. I obviously wouldn't continue to collab with them if I didn't like them. I really like their channels. I also really love Real Queen of Horror, Xena. She kind of lives near me, so we've gotten to like actually collab in person before, which is super fun. Very, very, very nice person, seriously. Just to name like a few, there's so many. I mean, Rotted Reviews, Blood Bath & Beyond, Nocturnal Horrors. I mean, I think it's still on my channel. I don't know if they show this anymore. Like on, you know, somebody's YouTube page, there's like a little section that you can put like and feature other channels. Like these are the channels that I like or whatever. If you just check there, that's a good place to start for channels that I enjoy. And as for the second part of your question, there's no tea to spill. So next question, if you could make the movie of your dreams, one that has everything you enjoy in the exact way you like it, how would the movie be, or what actors would be in it? You can talk about the music and effects and tropes / story in it too. Happy birthday, thank you. That's a difficult question to answer. You could ask me this question like every year for like the next like 5 years, and I would probably answer it differently every single time. Because like in terms of like the trope and story and like the things that I enjoy, it really depends on my mood. So it's like if I'm in the mood for something like bloody and silly, like Dead Alive or something like that, you know, I might make a movie like that. Or if I'm feeling more like in my feelings, deep, dark, whatever, it might be like a haunted house story. To answer this question right now, I'm feeling more like a haunted house kind of vibe, like really tense, kind of a slower burn, maybe along the lines of like The Haunting of Hill House. I am the pretty thing that lives in the house. Is that the title of the movie? Something like that, like something where there's like maybe like some creepy stuff going on in the background, not necessarily jump scare filled, and it's about like, you know, very like cerebral sort of thing. I don't know who would be in it. I really like Anya Taylor-Joy, so that would be cool. I don't know, the people coming to my head are like Lupita Nyong'o, Lin Shaye already. That's a very interesting cast. Matthew Lillard, I really enjoy him and everything I watch him in. That's a very interesting cast. I don't know that would work, but I would enjoy it. About the music, I'd probably pick like Danny Elfman to do the music, because I don't know, I just feel like he gives like perfect spooky vibes. I don't know if that would fit. I don't think that this movie that I'm creating works, but I might have asked this question before, but here it goes. Which big three of horror would win? Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, and Peter Cushing versus Freddy, Jason, and Michael. That's I think that's kind of impossible to answer, because Freddy, Jason, and Michael are only ever slashers or villains, whereas like Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, and Peter Cushing have played bad guys, they've played the heroes. Win in what though? Like win in a fight? Because I think it has to go to Freddy, Jason, and Michael. If it's just like my personal favorite, I think I would have to go with Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, and Peter Cushing, just because they're more versatile than the other three. They play heroes, they play villains. Next question, what horror movie would you most like to live in? I think there's a similar question. So I'll put them both on the screen. I don't want to scroll and lose my place. It's a toss-up because I'm also trying to think about, like, do I have to live the events of the movie? Because the first thing that came to my mind was Scream, and only because I really would love to live in Sidney Prescott's house, like the actual house, like on that, like, you know, it's like overlooking like that valley, and it's like just such a big beautiful house, and the view is so gorgeous. Other than that, I would probably pick something like super aesthetic and like atmospheric, like Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. Like just the aesthetic of that I really like. Next question, what does a movie have to have for it to be considered a horror movie? I mean, I don't know, as long as it fits the genre definition of horror, which is like what it elicits fear and foreboding and terror. I don't know. I'd say as long as that's the purpose of the movie, like, because you could like technically like watch any movie, I guess, and it could technically scare you. That doesn't necessarily make it a horror movie. Watch like Bridesmaids, and you know, for whatever reason that could terrify you, but that's not necessarily a horror movie. I think as long as the intent of like the people like writing the movie and making the movie is to, you know, create a sense of like foreboding and terror, I think that's what makes it a horror movie. I don't know. Next question, what was the first movie as a kid you remember genuinely being terrified of? I was on the Poltergeist. I'll link it up here. I was on a live stream with them, and they asked a similar question with their like fun little like wheel of questions. My answer to that, which is the first movie I can remember being terrified of, it is The Mummy. Not the classic one. The Stephen Sommers masterpiece starring Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser. I think I watched it, I was like 8 or 9 when I first saw that movie, and I was watching it with my friends at a sleepover, and the mummy, like before he like starts to regenerate, absolutely terrified me, especially the scene when they first crack him out of his sarcophagus, and he kind of like, there's the jump scare where he like springs out at them, right? But then a little bit later, the camera like zooms in on his like distorted face, and there's that like awful kind of like screeching sound in the soundtrack, and that image just stuck with me and scared the fuck out of me. What book would you recommend for somebody who wants a long, thick, deep dive read, any theme or genre? I don't know if this counts. It's a graphic novel. I mean, that counts as reading. But it's called My Favorite Thing is Monsters, and it's a very, very thick graphic novel. It takes a little bit to get through. There is quite a lot of words in it as well. But I really like the story, especially if you're a horror fan. I think you can relate to it on some level. It also has some LGBTQ plus themes in it. Very, very like coming of age story, but like set with kind of like classic horror vibes, if that makes sense. That takes a little bit to get through. I would highly recommend that. I haven't personally read this one, but It by Stephen King is like the longest book I can think of off the top of my head. Next question, have you developed or suppressed any new fears that would surprise or humor anyone? Nothing new. I'm afraid of spiders. That's pretty normal, I think. I'm afraid of heights, which is also pretty normal. No, nothing new. Next question, are you a fan of Michael Henkin? Probably said that wrong. I had to look that name up because it didn't automatically like flick on the light bulb. The only thing I've seen that this person has made is Funny Games, which I've only seen that movie once because it was really hard to get through. I wouldn't say I'm not a fan of this person. He created a very, very terrifying home invasion movie. But that's all I have to go on, so I don't know if I can answer that question. Being existential now, was it hard for you to find your path in life? I think that is ever changing. I just don't believe that any one person gets on this one path and that's what you're following for the rest of your life. I think there's many different avenues and branches off of this path that you can take, and then you're on a completely new path. It just changes throughout your life. Whatever, you know, life decides to throw at you, that can all change. So I don't think there's any I think you're on your path now. Like, we're all on on a path now that we're on, and you know, things could change in our life and we're on a new path. Unless you just meant like my YouTube channel as my path in life. And then I just answered it in this really like existential way. That's my answer. Hopefully that answered the question. Are you gonna make another horror baking video? I am, for sure. I think, yeah, the last horror baking video I made, actually, I think was when there was still carpet in the living room. We have like one of those open floor plans, right? And there was carpet in the living room, which helped the echo, because there's like super high ceilings out there in like the kitchen living room area. And now that there's not carpet and it's tile in there, it is extremely echoey. So it's not great for sound. So if I do make one, it's gonna have to be a voiceover one, probably. Unless I can find a way to suppress the echo in that huge ass room. So we'll see. I definitely have plans to. If nothing else, you'll definitely see some for October, but hopefully before then. I also have to make sure I can have the kitchen to myself for however long it takes me to do said video. Would you ever get a horror related tattoo? Also, would you ever consider making a video reacting to your subscribers' horror themed tattoos? To answer the first question, sure, I definitely would. I have no idea what I would get. I think that's the only reason I don't have more tattoos, I think. It's just I like I'm indecisive. Like, there's just too many good ideas. And I definitely don't have enough money, because like my next train of thought will be like, well, just do all of the ideas. I definitely don't have enough money for that. I mean, I could make a video reacting to your guys' horror themed tattoos. I can tell you right now, my reaction to all of them is gonna be like, wow, that's a great tattoo, I love that. Because I'm not like a professional tattoo receiver or tattoo artist. So which modern horror director is your fave and which do you not like? Maybe like, I guess maybe like the only person whose movies I would actively avoid is maybe somebody like Victor Salva or something. So my favorites, probably people like Guillermo del Toro or James Wan, I think are, if I really thought about it, would be like my top like modern horror directors. I guess they would fit modern. I don't know what we're considering modern. What is your best childhood birthday moment and gift? I honestly can't remember. Never mind. I do kind of have an answer to this. The actual event of this was not on my birthday, but this is definitely my favorite gift I've ever received. And it was tickets to a Backstreet Boys concert. And I know you're probably thinking this is like back when, more back in the day, like when the Backstreet Boys were like just coming out and everything like that. No. It was like a reunion tour or something. I'd have to double check, like maybe like 2012 or 2013 or something like that. My parents got me 2 tickets, so I took one of my high school friends who also really loved the Backstreet Boys, and we had a great fucking time. Still like doing all the dances and everything. I had a great time. Okay, this is a super important question. Pineapple on pizza? Sure. Yeah. What do you think is the best all-time acting performance in a horror film? How important do you think great acting is to a movie? I definitely can't answer that first question. I wouldn't even know where to begin answering that question. How important do you think great acting is to a movie? Just as important as anything else. I don't think any one factor of movie making makes or breaks it. Like, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think there's any one factor like between like cinematography, editing, directing, writing, acting, music composition. I don't think there's any one of those factors that could be so amazing that it saves the movie if everything else is bad. Hopefully that makes sense the way I'm explaining it. So obviously good acting is important to a movie, but it's just that like the whole idea of making a movie is like this collaborative thing, I guess, unless you're Bo Burnham stuck inside your house. Most other movies though are a collective thing. So I think every piece is just as important as the next. Here's two totally different questions. Your birthday, your choice. For the first one, because I haven't only had one other book question. What are your top 3 favorite horror novels and why? Pen Pal, Dathan Auerbach. Really short, essentially just like creepypastas made into a book form, but really terrifying in a real life sense, like a stalker kind of, you know, real life horror. Really, really scary. I couldn't bring myself to read it at night or when I was in the house alone. The Changeling, Victor Laval. Big on the folklore aspects. Also kind of real life horror. It's like mixed in with the supernatural. It's a really, really interesting take on the Changeling folklore. So it's like at the same time a very human horror story and kind of a monster story as well. Then Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. That covers kind of like the creature feature, like in full. Killer Mermaid, so like really unique creature feature. It's like doubling down on like the fear of the ocean. It has fantastic representation. So have you seen Debs? Would make great Pride content. Also, you're great, thanks. I don't know, I think if I've seen Debs, it's been a very, very long time. Like I've seen, like looking at images of them, it looks familiar to me, so I feel like I may have watched it back in the day, but I honestly don't know how much of it I remember, so I do need to rewatch it. There's 3 questions that are all like super similar, or they like lead into each other, so I'm gonna put them all on the screen here and read them off really quick, and then I can just kind of answer them all in one go. So first is, what was your coming out journey like? Were people supportive? Any bad stories / experiences, or any good ones? At what age did you come out, and how did everyone in your life handle it? And if anything has changed since coming out, anything you've learned about yourself, or just anything you want to share that comes to mind. So I came out a super short time ago, this past November. Obviously I knew for a longer time that was just me coming out to the internet and to a large part of my family. I told everybody that needed to be told individually first, obviously, before I did like a super cringy Instagram post. Just more like a weight off of my chest, off my shoulders, right? Really nothing has changed, honestly. Nothing has changed. And that's honestly the way it should be. I know that like coming out is a big deal, and it should be, because it's a, you know, it's a good thing. It's an important thing, but I feel like that just kind of like reinforces this kind of not correct idea that being straight is the norm. Like the fact that like people have to come out as not straight. I don't think you should have to. But I feel like the fact that like nothing has really changed just kind of proves that. And it's like, you know, everything's okay, everything's fine, everything's normal, you know. Everything was as it was before, just now everybody knows. Does that make sense? People were supportive, you know, all of my like close friends were super supportive. My mom was, of course, super supportive. Definitely got lucky, and I didn't have any like I don't have any bad stories or experiences to share. So I consider myself extremely lucky. I know not everybody's coming out journey is like that. The worst, if I could even call it that, would probably be like my dad's reaction, which is just like a non-reaction. So that, if that's the worst that I'm gonna get, I will consider myself extremely lucky, because with anybody I told, it could have gone south so fast. And that's like part of the fear of coming out for a lot of people. So I'm very, very lucky. Question, any new favorite genre movies that you would watch anytime and or consider future classics? Things that I would watch anytime. I think stuff like Get Out or Us are definitely fall into both of those categories for me. I feel like both of them have the potential to be a future classic, and I would watch them anytime. not one I would consider like watching all of the time because it's a lot to get through. Midsummer, I think, has the potential to be a future classic as well. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully it wasn't too long of a video. Hopefully editor Vicky will trim it up a lot so it's not as daunting to get through. Thank you to everybody who asked a question and for making them like so varied, like from lighthearted to like almost sending me into an existential crisis, asking me about like my path in life. We'll see you this weekend with a new video, not a Q&A or anything, back to the horror content. But I hope you enjoyed this little Q&A, a little casual video. And yeah, until next time, stay strange. Bye.